Revelation is one of the few books of the Bible that are very clear that the writer actually identifies himself as John. But the big question that comes then is, well, which John? John was a very common name. The traditions of the church are that it was the same John that wrote the gospel. And this is justified if you look at his intimacy and his knowledge of the churches in Asia, where Ephesus was one of the primary churches. The Apostle John, his legacy of working with those churches, it kind of justifies this viewpoint. Now, there's other Johns that we have other Johannine literature in the Bible, such as 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, and some people there's another John that people like to identify. And they call him John the Elder because in 2nd and 3rd John he identifies himself as using that word elder, and so some people think that that means that there's another John, and this also is just a speculation because we really don't know for sure. I think the thing that's most determinative about who wrote John is when we think about when, and that actually talks to the why. And we're talking about something that was probably written in the late 1st century, during the reign of Emperor Domitian, around 96-ish AD. And the reason this actually helps us in understanding that it could have been the actual Apostle John, the beloved apostle, because he was a very, very young man when he was a disciple of Jesus. He was the younger brother of James, and it's very obvious that Jesus took him under his wing almost like a son. And so the fact that he was so young when he was actually following Jesus, it's conceivable that as an elderly patron of the church, elderly apostle, disciple, that he would actually, later in life, actually get some sort of a vision like this and actually put together a writing. So a lot of people like to point to the fact that the Greek is so bad, and it is. It's horrible Greek. An explanation for how bad the Greek is in the book of Revelation could actually mean that he didn't have the access to an amanuensis like Paul had. A lot of Paul's letters, he even confesses that he's not writing, and has somebody else is doing that for him. And it's possible that John's other works actually got polished up a bit. This book is very clear that it's unpolished. When we look at the early position of the church, things were getting bad because of one very big and important thing, and that is the enforcement of Caesar worship. Domitian, it's documented in the history books that he started this program in the 90s, and when he did this, it was actually forcing Christians to make a choice. Christians who will only say and are only willing to confess Jesus as Lord and King, they were actually being asked to call Caesar that. Domitian actually used the phrase Dominus et Deus for himself, Lord and God. And for a Christian, this brought a point of decision. They had to choose. Is Jesus really my Lord, or am I going to kowtow to and actually do what I need to do to save my skin and say Caesar is Lord? And so the way John and his revelation, the way he dealt with that was give a message of hope, a message of warning, and a message that really encourages the church to stay true, stay the course. Don't worry about earthly death. Don't worry about any type of martyrdom. There is absolutely nothing to worry. People were getting, their friends were being killed. Like the early Christians were seeing their friends getting killed because they refused. And the message over and over was as a balm of like, oh, it's okay. And these friends that we're losing, it answers a very big question. Will we see them again? And it's very clear. The answer is yes. And not only see them, but in this super celebratory, heavenly, eternal kind of a celebration. This is what the need was that John was meeting in the Christians of that time.